If you're moving to Florida's Space Coast, don't choose a community until you understand how Brevard County is laid out. Because Brevard County isn't really just one place. It's 72 miles long, and water shapes everything here. And where you choose to live can completely change your commute, your daily routine, and your overall experience living here. Hi, I'm Tina Veltri. I grew up on Florida's Space Coast, moved away for several years, and then I came back to raise my family. Today, I help people understand their options and make smart real estate decisions throughout Brevard County, whether you're buying, building, selling, or relocating here. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see relocation buyers make is that they fall in love with a house before they fully understand how Brevard County is laid out. Because once you understand how the county is laid out, the communities start making a little more sense and where you might fit in best. So in this video today, I'm going to help get you oriented to Brevard County. And before we start diving into the specific areas throughout the series that I'm starting right now. So let's start with where exactly is Brevard County. Brevard County is located in Central Florida on the East Coast, and we are about an hour east of Orlando. Now, we're known as the Space Coast, and a lot of people recognize us or know us because of our rocket launches, and back in the day, it was the shuttle. They know us for Kennedy Space Center and our beaches, but when you're relocating here, understanding the geography is one of the most important first steps. One thing that people don't often understand is that Brevard County is a large county. We are 72 miles long from north to south, and that's a really long county. And because of that, daily life can feel very different depending on where you live. A drive that looks short on a map isn't always that short in real life. And if you're relocating here for work, commute times may be very important. If you're retiring, you may care about being close to the beach or boating, golfing, or just going to great restaurants or maybe healthcare and family. And if you're working remotely, your priorities may be completely different. That's why I always encourage people to understand the county before they start looking at specific houses. One of the easiest ways to understand Brevard County is to think about it in sections. North Brevard, Central Brevard, and South Brevard. North Brevard includes Titusville, Mims, Port St. John, Kennedy Space Center. Central Brevard is Rockledge and Merritt Island, part of it, Cape Canaveral, Cocoa Beach, Vieira, Suntree, and then you've got South Brevard, which includes Melbourne and West Melbourne, Palm Bay, Melbourne Beach, and other communities further south. Each of these sections and different cities have their own personality, housing options, location advantages, and overall feel. Now, I'm going to be breaking that down a lot more in future videos, but today I simply want you to understand how they all fit together. This is probably one of the most important maps of this entire video because water shapes everything on the Space Coast. You have the Atlantic Ocean on the east, the Indian River Lagoon running through the county. You have the Banana River, you have Barrier Islands, the Mainland, and one area that often confuses relocation buyers, Merritt Island. Merritt Island sits between the Indian River and the Banana River and is connected by bridges to both the Mainland and the Beachside communities. It's really its own unique part of Brevard County, and I'll spend more time discussing that in a future video. The important thing to understand right now is that water really influences how you live, your commute, if you like boating or fishing, how you like to spend your time. Some people want walkability, restaurants, and activity, where other people would really prefer a larger lot, or they want boating access, more privacy, or a quieter pace of life. The good news is we have it all right here in Brevard County, and understanding the geography helps you understand where those different lifestyles are located. If you're relocating to the Space Coast and you're just trying to figure out which area might be best for you, I put together a free Florida Space Coast relocation guide, and I'm going to put that in the link below. And if you're getting closer to making a move and you want help sorting through some of your options, you can also schedule a Space Coast discovery call with me. I'll put that in the links as well. Now, every buyer's situation is different, and that's why we start by talking about why you're moving, what matters most to you, and what you're hoping life is going to be like once you get here. Another important part of understanding Brevard County is understanding why it's called Florida's Space Coast. Now, Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral are located in Brevard County, and space has been part of our identity for decades. I grew up here, and I actually was here when the very first space shuttle went off in 1981. It was one of those things people who lived here back then will never forget. Today, rocket launches are truly just part of our everyday life. And whether you're in Titusville or Cocoa Beach or even Rockledge, seeing launches has become part of what makes this county so unique. And you could even stand outside your front door and see it go off. Now let's talk about something that affects our everyday life, or some people's everyday life, that most relocation buyers don't even realize: the causeways. These are the bridges that connect the mainland to our beachside communities and, of course, Merritt Island. Now, depending on where you live, crossing a causeway may be something that you have to do every day for work or for school, shopping, dining, or simply just heading to the beach. Because all of this water around us means that there's only certain places where you can cross the mainland, Merritt Island, and the barrier island communities. Now, you don't need to memorize all this. I just simply want you to understand how the county connects together, because it truly does affect how people move around and experience life every single day. The last thing I want you to understand is our relationship to Orlando. A lot of people moving here are attracted to the fact that they can just enjoy our coastal life while still being relatively close to Orlando International Airport, major employers, entertainment, and everything Central Florida has to offer. But where you live in Brevard matters. A drive to Orlando from South Brevard can feel very different than a drive from North Brevard. And that's another reason understanding the map first can save you a lot of frustration later. So if there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it's this: Brevard County is a lot bigger and more diverse than most people realize. And before you start comparing communities or looking at homes or deciding where you want to live, it helps to understand how the county fits together. Because once you understand the map, a lot of decisions become easier. Now, over the next few videos, I'm going to be showing you the big picture and breaking it down one decision at a time. And we're going to start with one of the biggest questions I hear from relocation buyers, and that is, should I live beachside or should I live mainland? Now, a lot of people think they already know the answer to that question, but once they understand how the Space Coast is laid out, they often realize there's more to that decision than they expected. Now, if you're planning a move, make sure to download my Space Coast relocation guide. And if you would like some help, have some questions, please schedule that Space Coast discovery call with me. I am happy to go over options and answer any questions that you have. I'm Tina Veltri. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.